Okay, welcome back to the United Pubcast, the podcast of the Man United Supporters Club here in Sydney. And Larry, I don't know why I'm smiling. When I started, I thought it was going to be a depressing podcast, but a smile somehow came out. I am not sure. Obviously, it's an early morning podcast, and the reason being, probably a few reasons. We want to firstly get this off our chest and get the frustration so we can get on with our Sunday and enjoy our day, not let it dwell. But also, we do feel that there could be a second video later tonight, sort of first thing morning UK time, and a little bit later tonight. So we just saving ourselves so we can do it a little bit later, because we've said it before, Larry. We said after City he's going to get sacked. We said after Liverpool, well, he's going to get sacked. He survived. Well, international break, he's going to get sacked. Well, he survived. This one sounds a little bit different because there are a few reports now from credible sources that a meeting has been held or was being held or is being held currently, who knows. And the words out of it is regarding his compensation package, which is different to, okay, we're going to sack him or not sack him. This becomes a lot more specific and a lot more real. And he has lost his job now. And look, as much as we defend him and fans of him, rightly so, it's over now, surely.
When you lose, when you concede 4 to Watford, when you're losing 4-1 to Watford, look, you can say we were a 10-man down, but again, being 10-man down is the issue in itself. Obviously, we will get into it. Can I say it's a pleasure to be here, Tom? I'm not enjoying doing this video, but I feel like I forgot we do this. I feel like I haven't been on a video in a while, so cheers for having me.
Well, you've got the sort of Manchester vibe, obviously the cup of tea. It's Manchester rain outside. Obviously in Sydney, we've been sort of having some hot weather, but it's absolutely pissing down now, and obviously very reminiscent of Manchester and sums up the mood quite nicely. But Rob, hope you're keeping well, mate, as good as you can. And you still don't think he'll be sacked. Well, look, I agree in terms of what we always say there, and there is that feel, but I think now the news is a little bit more specific. And look, his job was untenable a few weeks ago, as Larry just said, in terms of Watford. That is a different kettle of fish now. But Flim also saying, Ollie can take Maguire, Shaw, manager McTominay with him, which we will get into the performance, because this is not only, obviously Solskjaer will dominate the discussion, but it is a match review. We want to get the sort of talking of the football out of the way for the more important video later tonight, well, likely later tonight. So before we get into sort of maybe finishing with Solskjaer and this supposed meeting, well, I don't think supposed, I think a lot of people have come out with it now, so I think it's fair to say that it has been done. We'll talk about the football, and there was a football match against Watford. Manchester United versus Watford, you would think is quite straightforward, but gone are the days where you can go to Watford and win. I think our last couple of visits there have ended up in defeats. But this one was a different kind of defeat. It's along the lines of, actually, if you're going to rank them, just off the top of your head, Liverpool, City, and Watford, where do they rank? Which one was the worst? Because all three of them have a case for being worse than each other.
I'm going to say the City defeat was the worst, actually. I know the Liverpool scoreline is really bad, but if you remove the emotion from it and you look at the City performance, diabolical. Like, we were not a hope. Liverpool, you felt we had a few opportunities. If Bruno scores early, maybe the game plays out differently. I think we ultimately would have lost anyway.
I think it's hard. I think the Liverpool loss, if you put the 5-0 Liverpool loss, I'd actually put that as third. I'd put City the worst, this one against Watford second worst, and Liverpool actually the best of the defeats.
I agree with you, and I think with the Watford performance specifically, that happens because you look at the calibre of the team you're versing, because there's two teams in a game of football. You look at the way the game played out. Watford were the better team, Tom. They dominated the midfield, which I know we will come into the midfield inevitably. You look at our defence and the disgrace that is in our defence, and the way we just capitulate at the back. This United side has no resolve, and I think this performance was the worst simply because of that. You knew once we conceded, you just look at the first 10 minutes. I know the penalty situation was farcical in itself, but you look at the nature in which we conceded that penalty anyway. It just tells you where this club is at the moment. It was really poor.
Yeah, well, the nature of that penalty, obviously, McTominay gives it away and lucky to stay on the pitch. But that's where I come back to my argument, and definitely not saying make it happen, but my argument that says, well, you play one matter over Bruno Fernandes, and we're a lot better team with the ball. I think Bruno Fernandes, you can see what he's trying to do there, but it's just absolutely shocking. And Rob here saying Watford are literally a relegation team. Well, Rob, if you look at our form, we're in very good company. We can keep Watford in the relegation form, because we might have the worst form in the league. Maybe Newcastle, Norwich. Well, Norwich won today. So I'm not sure. I'd like to see the form guide, or I won't like to see it. But calling other clubs a relegation team, we're firmly in that discussion in regards to form. Morning, Trev. Hope you're well. As good as you can be, obviously. So football, Larry. Team selection. we all thought Donny van der Beek was going to get a run. Didn't happen. Now we'll get into Donny van der Beek in a little bit because he almost was a star of the show, albeit in obviously the disappointing circumstances. But what do you want to take from it? Because it kind of, with the one or two injuries or the one or two people out, it kind of almost picked itself. I think there is obviously the Fred discussion. Fred's obviously a big man or an important player for Solskjaer. There was a thing about him in Villarreal and coming back from Brazil.
Sorry to interrupt you, but hold the thought for 30 seconds because I think my laptop's working. So I'll be back in 30 seconds.
We'll come back. So I'll just go through some of the comments here while Larry sort of joins back. But in regards to that, so Trev saying, slept through the first half, was going to watch the second half till I saw Donny warming up, Donny and Sancho with a breath of fresh air, which we'll get into 3-2-1s because we don't really want to give away sort of 3-2-1s at the moment. But after a disappointing defeat like that, we try and stay away from it. But I think Donny and Sancho definitely up for grabs them. And I think Rob also mentioned De Gea saved 2 penalties as well. But Larry, on that team sheet, it kind of almost picked itself. And then when you see it on paper, you think, okay, I can get behind that or I can understand that. But then, it's a surprise losing to Watford 4-1. Of course it is, but it kind of isn't. When you see that on paper, you think, yeah, we could lose to Watford. So just your thoughts when you did see the team news.
I was really disappointed, Tom. And the biggest issue with it that I have was we knew that the form was poor and we knew something had to change. And you look at the formation, you look at the personnel in that side, it's much of the sameness. And, I've said this line countless times and I almost feel idiotic for repeating it, but idiocy or the definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a change. He's just doing the same thing, the same defense that's conceding 5 to Liverpool, the same defense that's conceding shambolic goals to Manchester City, conceding against Leicester. So I was really disappointed. I think Harry Maguire just needed dropping. He really did. Yeah, I could make a case to drop Luke Shaw as well, if I'm being honest, but maybe that's too unsettling for the defense. And yeah, you can have an opinion on Eric Bailly, but I don't think he's any worse than our captain at the moment. Midfield, I mean, look, I just thought the side, all in all, the defense particularly just needed something a bit different. I would have liked to see Donny start, and I think you want to talk about positives in the game. Donny was a positive. I would have liked to see him from the get-go, but, I mean, it's a difficult one. I like the attacking lineup. I thought he went with the right option. It was good to see Sancho on the right. Positive performance from Sancho, but look, all in all, I think the defense is the disappointing part, Tom. And I think today just shows why, again.
Yeah, no, that's what every time we have seen Rafael Varane play, even though in games where Rafael Varane has played, we've conceded goals. I think we've only kept one clean sheet this season, 1 or 2 clean sheets maybe. So every time Varane plays, we look so much more solid, and that's from both the team point of view, what he brings to the team in terms of his confidence and his leadership and his experience at the back. But also when you watch individual defenders play, when you watch Eric Bailly play, when you watch Harry Maguire play, when you look some of the things I saw Victor Lindelof do up against Josh King, I thought, oh my God, well, that's sort of under 12 football in terms of physicality type thing. All 3 centre-backs, I think, have been woeful this. Oh, no, look, Harry Maguire has been woeful. Bailly and Lindelof have been Bailly and Lindelof. I wouldn't call them woeful by their standards. They've just sort of been who they are. But Rafael Varane is just head and shoulders above anyone in that back four. Even Wan-Bissaka this season. Wan-Bissaka was carrying a caravan that match.
Remove the whole situation about United at the moment. You look at that defense, right? Now, between Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, we've spent, I think, around £150 million. You look at that. You look at that defense now. Tell me we don't still need another centre back and another right back. You could argue we need.
The news is news. Who knows how the news will change if there's a new manager in 24 hours? But there was a decent sort of credible report coming out in regards to United still interested in Kieran Trippier, which was obviously one of the main target, but a definite interest in the summer. And look, you can shake heavy. You can understand why Solskjaer, the club, Solskjaer, whoever's pulling the strings, is interested in that right, because Wan-Bissaka can be brilliant at times, but the limitations are clear to see.
For United to be a front foot side, which is what they should be, Wan-Bissaka is not your right back. He just never will be. His crossings improved, but he can't pass. He can't put a 5-yard pass together, Tom. I think, look, you laugh at whether I'm 2-footed or not. Mate, I got a better passing range than Wan-Bissaka. His passing's appalling.
Well, if you want to see Larry's passing in action, please remember, if you are in Sydney, we are playing on Sunday, 5th of December, against Watford, our revenge match against Watford. The link is in the description below if you want to donate. We're raising money for the food bank here in Sydney. And just Rob here making the point Sancho's next best only started because Mason had COVID. Yeah, so fingers crossed Mason Greenwood gets well soon and he's back. But it's an interesting shout. I was so happy to see Sancho play, but then you look at it and you think, well, yeah, did he play just because Mason Greenwood was injured or ill? Morning, Adam. Hope you're keeping well. And Max Sane from another right back Trev Sane, Max Aarons from Norwich, who's obviously been linked. I think he's been linked with a few clubs. If Norwich do want to cash in, he's definitely one on the shopping list. But Larry, we'll go into your good mate Harry Maguire, and we'll keep this sensible because I know your thoughts. And look, my thoughts are footballing wise along the same tracks, but obviously different from a personal standpoint. So we'll keep this respectfully. If you do get a little bit silly, or anyone in the comments gets a little bit silly, I'll pull you up and sort of call you out on it. However, my 2 cents is it's backfired completely in terms of that sort of celebration against who was it, Albania or whoever they played, San Marino, whoever the goal was. He's become what he is at the moment in terms of walking meme. I think this meme going around now where he's cupping his ears only to be sent off 45 minutes later when his club most needed him. So just your thoughts, because the performance, if you look at the first half performance in terms of what could have been, a few of us in the group chat were saying he's probably our best defender. He saved us a lot in terms of last-ditch tackles and winning battles type thing. He actually defended sort of in his own 18-yard box quite well. Now, that all goes to absolutely nonsense because he absolutely throws the team under the bus type thing. For something that quite happens quite often, Paul Pogba does that often, standing on the ball, no one near him, goes to dribble, takes a touch, and the touch is horrible and overcommits and does a foul. Donny van der Beek almost did the exact same thing. Now, Donny van der Beek just wins the ball. Now, we're going to talk about Harry Maguire and his professionalism and sort of how he's leading the team. We're going to throw Maguire, and rightly so, under the bus for this incident. Donny van der Beek did the exact same thing, but just won the ball. We're not bringing Donny van der Beek's character into question, nor should we. But I just want to keep that in mind in sort of the sensibility around this discussion about Maguire. But I'll give you your 2 cents, and then I'll join in.
The reason Tommy's saying that, if you're new here, the reason Tommy's saying that is, all right, I will apologize and I will correct myself. It was probably in the heat of the moment. I previously called Harry Maguire a coward. Now I'm going to retract that because I don't know the man personally, so I'm not going to call him a coward. But what
you can say some actions are cowardly. I wouldn't call him.
Yes, absolutely. But I don't know him personally, and if I saw him in the street, I wouldn't want to call him a coward. So I will retract that. We say things in the heat of the moment. I'll put my hands up there. But what I will say, Tom, is he shouldn't be a Manchester United player, because here's the thing, right? When you have the captaincy, when you have the armbands and you need to take the responsibility that comes with that. When you take into consideration, and this is why the cupping of the ears, it was unbelievably frustrating. It was disrespectful, and it was just ignorant, because when you're the captain, you have to think, you have to be the leader in the dressing room. Anyone who's a young player, so if you're Mason Greenwood, if you're the likes of Anthony Alanga or Dylan Levitt or James Garner, who are looking to eventually become Manchester United first team players, the captain is the one who needs to set the standard. He's the one you need to look at. The way he trains, the way he plays, everything that he does should epitomize what your club represents. I look at Harry Maguire, and I tweeted this out not too long ago. He's been at fault this season for over 10 goals. Let's have that right. Over 10 goals, okay? That's not me exaggerating. He's been the main culprit for at least 10 goals this season. He threw Solskjaer under the bus after the Manchester City game, saying, we lacked belief, and then Solskjaer had that unfortunate and awkward interview post-match. He then plays against Albania and cups his ears when he scores a goal. Mate, no one questioned your goal-scoring ability. It's not about scoring goals. It's about what you're doing defensively, firstly. Secondly, it's not any Manchester United shirt. I'm not sure what you're cupping your ears at. Then he comes in today and he gets himself sent off. Like, seriously, in the most important game of Solskjaer's tenure, like we all said he should have gone. We all knew it was a stay of execution. Solskjaer should be gone. But in saying that, he comes in today and with an extra game gives you a little bit of hope. Maybe we turn it around against Watford. He gets himself sent off. Like, yes, you're right. In an isolated incident, it happened. I think Pogba's had 3 red cards in his time at Manchester United. Donny, yes, you're right. Contentious opportunity. But at the end of the day, Tom, you have to look at Harry Maguire's performance over the period of this season thus far. And it's not just been underperformance. I look at his level, mate. He'd struggle to play on the weekend in our teams. He's not playing like a professional footballer at the moment. Am I wrong?
That's the thing that baffles me is because I see us last year absolutely the whole fan base be distraught that he gets injured and misses the Europa League final. We're so dependent, we're so praiseworthy of Harry Maguire last season and how good he was. And yes, 6 weeks later or 2-3 months later, whatever it is, yes, resembling that of a Sunday league football. And he kind of has the body of a Sunday league football the way he moves. So I think that's where the sort of the comparison sort of is drawn. But that's what's baffling because these people saying, oh, he's no good. Well, he is good. He's just found himself in this form, which maybe, okay, from a physical point of view and skill level point of view, he can't get out. But more importantly, from mentally, he can't get out. We had that discussion last season in terms of when he came back from Greece, was a little bit slow, sort of getting back to sort of the rhythm of things. And we sort of afforded him that opportunity. We said, okay, well, he's headed elsewhere. That was a sort of rough experience. Give him time. And he got through that period. But this period is just going from bad to worse. And there's no end in sight because if a player is out of form, we'll leave them out a couple of weeks and throw it after 60 minutes when you're 2-0 up at home to Watford, throw them on, give them half an hour, a little bit more confidence. But at the moment, every single game is, well, we're suddenly 4-1 down to Watford. So when are you going to bring a player on to give them that confidence? It's just only going to get worse and worse.
What's really interesting about Harry Maguire, there has to be something in this. If you actually look at, I look at some heat maps, and the maps show you the average position of a player. Harry Maguire this season, Tom, is actually occupying a deeper position than he occupied last season, which is really interesting because you thought with the signing of Raphael Varane, Harry Maguire would actually, you look at those two players, you think maybe Maguire's the one who actually pushes up further forward. Varane's the one who's got the pace, can cover in behind, a little bit more physical, a better all-round defender. But Harry Maguire, as the season's gone on, he's actually gone deeper and deeper and deeper. And you look at the nature of the last two goals. Sorry, not the last two goals. You look at the position he occupies for the first goal. Sorry, he's basically in the net with De Gea. It was actually Lindelof who was mainly, in my opinion, I thought Lindelof was at fault for the goal that we conceded, the first goal. But you look at it as a whole. He's basically where David De Gea is in the net. And that suggests to me that why would a defender be next to the goalkeeper? He lacks confidence. He's no longer trusting his judgment to get to the near post. He can't read the play anymore. He's already slow. We know this. So Harry Maguire needs to rely on his defensive instinct and his knowledge of the game. The problem with Harry Maguire is if you're Raphael Varane and you're out of form, you can always fall back on your physical attributes. You're quick. The thing with Rio Ferdinand, if you think of Rio in his peak, Rio at times would be in poor defensive positions, but he had the pace to make up for it. If you're Harry Maguire, you don't have that pace. So you need to get it right. Now, the fact that he's occupying a deeper position suggests to me his confidence is shot. Now, Solskjaer came out today and he did say, never considered stripping him of the captaincy. But okay, if your leader is lacking leadership, then it's the manager's responsibility then to pull him out. It's his responsibility to say, sorry, Harry, look, we need to pull you out at the moment, mate. It's not working for you. So it's twofold. I think Harry Maguire is probably a victim of himself, but I think Solskjaer has they're almost like they're hurting each other. It's a double-edged sword with Maguire and Solskjaer. And I think both, unfortunately, are going to fall on their sword. When the next manager comes in, do you see Harry Maguire starting?
Well, ultimately, yes, because I think no manager will trust Eric Bailly, and Raphael Varane obviously comes in. Now, there is a case if the new manager doesn't like Harry Maguire, there is a case of Victor Lindelof. But yes, and he'll need to obviously improve his form. I think a new manager won't stand for that form. That'll be the big thing. But very well said in regards to that. But I'll just say there's a heap of comments coming in, and I have just checked Twitter, Larry, during your spiel about Harry Maguire, which I completely agree and very well said. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed, not a here we go, but has said they've sacked him. And they're just waiting for sort of almost Joel Glazer's signature. So I see a lot of people in the comments. Sorry, I can't come to all of them in the comments. Very appreciate everyone joining us very early in the morning, Sydney time, or obviously late at night if you are in the UK. But yeah, thanks for that. I have checked for Fabrizio Romano. It does look like he's sacked, which is the main reason we have done this video now, is to talk a little bit of football and match review, because I think in 12 hours' time there'll be an official announcement and we can go live again. So Larry, just a bit more football before we move on to the current or the continuing Solskjaer discussion. If I can bring these 3-2-1 votes up. Usually we don't do it after Liverpool and after City. We didn't throw 3-2-1s up. And as bad as this was, as I say, where it ranks almost better than the Liverpool defeat, which we didn't give points, I think there are points to be given here. As bad as that sounds, that there are a few players who I think did do well. I'm just going to throw the 3 names out there for me, and you can have your opinions. Make sure you get yours in the comments. In no particular order, I'd say Donny van der Beek. Forget the goal. That was a good goal, but he came on and made a difference, and he fought for the... You could understand... You look when Jesse Lingard came on, which I haven't even touched on Jesse Lingard's situation, but when Lingard came on, he came on with a real scowl on his face type thing and just standing there doing nothing. Said, what is this manager putting me on in injury time for when we're 4-1 down? He wanted no part of it. Donny van der Beek came on at 2-0 down and put his heart and soul into it for the manager, for the players, for the club, for the fans. So you have to give Donny van der Beek 100% credit. And not only that, he played well. He scored a goal. He made a very good difference. As Rob said in the comments, David De Gea saved 2 penalties, and it could have been worse. I think De Gea did make a good couple of saves. There were the chances or the goals at the end. I haven't looked at the replays, but they've gone through his legs.
I think you and I could have saved those penalties. They were dog
shit. Look,
they were bad.
They were bad penalties, to be fair. But look, he saved them. And as you said, Jadon Sancho, I thought Jadon Sancho had in a tough situation, in a tough game, I thought performed well and sort of not shows what we're missing on the right-hand side, but shows potential on the right-hand side. So those 3 players, again, I feel bad for bringing up the 3-2-1s after that performance, but I think those players are deserving of a shout.
Look, Tom, I think it's fair to say you're the optimist between us two. I don't want to give points to anyone. I thought everyone was disgraceful, if I'm being honest. Disgraceful.
But that's the thing, not everyone was.
Can I say,
there were players that weren't.
How bad was Bruno? How bad was Bruno today? That's his worst performance in a United shirt for me. He was. Think? Did you see his back pass that led to
that's where I made the argument saying that look, I'm not saying, maybe I am saying it, maybe deep down I am saying it, but that's where I say play one matter over Bruno Fernandes. Yes, you're not going to get the 20 goals or 20 assists a season, but you've got to get far better football.
Can I put something to you? I know this might sound absolutely crazy, but would one matter, honestly, if United reverted to a 4-3-3, would one matter be the absolute worst option as an 8? Because I look at the way David Silva played for Manchester City.
George made the same point.
Players.
George made the same point in the last episode in regards to, and I completely agree. However, doing that in a pressure situation where the team is often defending is not ideal. If it's Manchester City and you're going to go into a team that's got 80% possession, by all means, I think you'd kill it in the Premier League. Put him into Barcelona. Okay, Barcelona situation, maybe not now, but you put him in a Barcelona team or a PSG, he would absolutely kill it in midfield. Put him into Manchester United's midfield, probably next to Fred and McTominay, probably won't work.
Yeah, Tom, let me ask you this question. I think Solskjaer has won most of the flack for this, and rightfully so. By the way, if you are tuning in, make sure to subscribe. We're positive. We're here. Look, you might as well subscribe. For me and Tom turning up here, what is it, 10 a.m.? I want to go to bed. Seriously.
I know, my flights are about to start. UFC's about to start, so yeah, continue on with the Bruno chat.
Sorry, Tom's on time. Look, the Solskjaer has ultimately won the flack, and he will pay for it with his job. But let's not forget how some of these players have performed in this period. I thought it's been disgraceful. And you know what? The one thing I will give Bruno, I actually started to think he was one of those players who has... I'm not going to say he's, thrown Solskjaer under the bus or dropped his level of performance. And the fact that after the game, he went over to the fans that were booing Solskjaer. You had Bruno, waving his finger saying, it's the players' responsibility, not the managers. But I think a lot of the players need to take blame here too. Yeah. You're looking at Wan-Bissaka. I think this has been his poorest start to the season. Maguire, we've covered. Luke Shaw, after what he produced last season, just extremely poor. Can I ask you, Tom, you think of a new manager coming in, and this is what is important. Our fundamental issues are still there. The midfield is still the issue. What would you do if you were in charge of Manchester United? How would you address the issue currently? We're obviously leaking goals. Do you look to shut up shop? Do you look to keep a clean sheet? Or do you go the other way and say, actually, let's play to our strengths. I'm going to put my best attacking talent on there. Keep the ball. What would you do? Because the same manager's going to have the same issues.
Well, that's a tough spot. There's no correct answer. The correct answer is the one that ends up working. And you don't know that until it works. So there are the two trains of thought. Go for it. Absolutely, hell for leather. Yeah, attacking football, 4-4-2, 2 wingers, get balls in the box, create drama for the other team, chaos in attack. But then the mature side of the argument is no, you have to sit in, make things tight, cut out those defensive errors, and if you don't concede any goals, well, then you might be able to fluke a goal and you'll score a goal. But if you're definitely conceding goals, you won't be in that position to score. So there is in my opinion, the stronger argument, which doesn't sound like puffing your chest out and what Manchester United is about in terms of free flow and attacking football, I think at the elite level, it is about sort of shutting up shop and keeping things tight and cutting out those mistakes. Now, that's not what people want to hear. We want to see the fast flow and attacking football, but ultimately, we can have this fast flow and attacking football, and if we concede 4 goals if we're conceding goals and it could have been 6 or 7 to Watford, not just 4. But if you're conceding 4 goals to Watford, 5 to Liverpool, what only was 2 to Liverpool, but could have been 2 to City, but could have been 22 if they wanted to, type thing. It needs to be shut up shop. You need to keep things tight and change things defensively. I understand the need to go and use our attacking strengths, but our weakness at the moment outweighs that sort of attacking strength, in my opinion.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. Look, we've obviously seen Zidane is the one that apparently United really want to get over the line. Do you see that happening? Do we dare see Zuzu in the dugout come Chelsea? I can't imagine any appointment will occur for the Champions League game.
Well, that's an interesting point, which I'm sure is sort of the huge stumbling block in regards to this meeting, in regards to Glazers, Woodward and Solskjaer will be, which is why it was so stupid not to do it during the international break. Give yourself 2 weeks to do this. And now we've got a must-win game against Villarreal, or maybe not must-win, but a very important Villarreal match. And what happens? Like, could you imagine the outrage? And it might have to be done. If they do sack Solskjaer tonight, it might have to be done where it's going to sound bad, but Michael Carrick or Kieran McKenna will have to, just for the simple body, that they'll need someone there because they don't have the time to bring a manager in.
On that point, okay, let's say we go live tonight, 6 p.m. Solskjaer's been announced, it's official, he's gone. His coaching staff also need to go. It is not right, and it would be unjust if it's just Solskjaer who wears the flag for this. That includes Mike Phelan, and I feel bad. You know what? Kieran McKenna's a young coach. United headhunted him. He's obviously got a promising career ahead of him. But it's not, the buck falls with Solskjaer. It stops at Solskjaer, but it's a coaching staff. It's a team effort. If Solskjaer goes, Mike Phelan, Michael Carrick, Kieran McKenna, this new set piece coach who apparently has made us worse, they all need to go. It can't just stop with Solskjaer.
I completely agree. And I sort of stand back on I'm a bit hesitant with my criticism in regards to the coach and set up Carrick, Phelan, the set piece coach, whoever he is type thing. So I don't want to put all the blame on them. However, you're completely right in saying, well, if Solskjaer goes, they have to go, maybe not for their job, and you could argue definitely for their job, but my main reason is what you say in regards to how it will be perceived. If Solskjaer is the only one to take the blame, that's simply not fair. This is on all of them. So if Solskjaer goes, they do have to go, even if they've been fantastic. I think in terms of the way it will be perceived, you can't just pin it all on Solskjaer. And it will be pinned all on Solskjaer. He's the manager. The buck stops with him. I completely agree. But yeah, they'll have to go, which is a huge stumbling block. Again, while you have to do it in the international break, because let's say Zidane is the man, which I have a feeling he is. I think Brendan Rodgers might be a little bit tricky to get, which shouldn't be tricky to get out of Leicester, but might be, especially considering Zidane is free and available. The situation will be sorting Zidane's stuff out, who he wants, how he's going to get them there. Obviously, what, do you take him to Manchester or do you take him to Spain because we've got a game in Spain in 2 days type thing. So there's all these sort of stumbling blocks at the moment in regards to who's going to be in that dugout against Villarreal. But again, just slightly reverting back to 3-2-1. Again, truly appreciate everyone in the comments. The comments are flying in. Apologies for not getting to them all, but truly appreciate it. 3-2-1's Larry. Look, I want to throw Donny van der Beek for 3 points. I know it sounds stupid, but I think he's deserving of them. If it comes to the end of the season and he's turned around his form, well, not his form, but he's turned around his playing time, I don't want him to miss out on player of the season if we don't give him 3 points today.
Yeah, no, 100%. Look, I think Van der Beek does get 3 points. He came on. What you want from a substitution, he did exactly that. He came on, he delivered, he scored a goal. Really positive. I'm not going to rewrite the narrative. I'm not going to say Donny van der Beek's been unbelievable and Solskjaer has been holding him back. He's been poor. I thought he hasn't taken his opportunity in the past, but I thought today he absolutely did. And you know what? You want to talk about some players, not doing themselves justice. What I will say is with Donny, what a professional he is. You put yourself in his shoes. Real Madrid wanted him. I think that's important to remember that. So he's obviously a good player. He's played in the Champions League. He's made the semi-final of the Champions League. It would be so easy for him, Tom, to spit the dummy. It really would, but he's kept his head down. He's stayed professional. He hopped on Rio Ferdinand's channel and he sasaid, I'll play in the 6, I'll play in the 8. I just want to play. He was respectful of the manager and he said, I will train hard every day. I'll keep going. And he saw it today, If his attitude wasn't right, he doesn't put in a good performance today. So full credit.
Yeah, no, I'm full of praise for Donny van der Beek. I thought he's brilliant and has been brilliant in regards to the circumstances and the situation he has found himself in. But it'll be fascinating if Zinedine Zidane comes in now, because you'd think obviously a new manager sort of comes in and will favour Donny van der Beek or see the positives and use him more frequently. However, if it is Zinedine Zidane, the player we haven't even mentioned in this podcast is currently Manchester United's new captain in Paul Pogba. And it throws an interesting dynamic into...
mate, now that is interesting. I think Paul Pogba signs a new deal with Cesar.
That's the thing. And look, that's another debate. That's a huge discussion, which, look, that is if Zidane is the new manager, who knows. But for 2 points, when we quickly sort of wrap it up, De Gea or Sancho? Because again, I think both deserving of it. But again, hard one to... They're obviously
I
not
don't
on
want
Ben
to sound
debates level.
cynical, but I swear to you, I could have saved those penalties, and I'm 5'0". Like, seriously.
But off the back of saving none for like 7 years or whatever it was, and then the
3 this
debacle,
season.
not the debacle against Villarreal type thing, but again, he saved them. And there was 1 or 2 other saves, made 1 or 2 from Josh King as well. And look, I'd say maybe Sancho over 2 points for a 90-minute performance, that he was good, and De Gea.
Tom, am I thinking too deeply about this? Why is David De Gea in peak form when United's defense is dog shit? Why can't we never
goalkeeper
play well
who needs
and
work?
good?
He might be that goalkeeper who needs stuff to do. There's always those, you never see the sort of the keeper who wins the league. You never see them do too much. You always see the goalkeepers on Match of the Day, the ones in the relegation battle, who have to do the 20 saves a game. And maybe there's a sign of a great goalkeeper, like a Peter Schmeichel or a Van der Sar, is someone who doesn't have to touch the ball for 2-3 games in a row. Then suddenly, in an instant, 89th minute, a ball comes in at 1-0 and they need to deal with it. Maybe De Gea, as brilliant as he is in some aspects of his games, maybe he's a player where if he doesn't have too much to do, can sort of lose a little bit of focus. But if he's always on the ball, you look at that Tottenham game or the Arsenal game, if he's constantly involved, maybe that's when he's at his best.
But look, the reason I'd actually be hesitant to give De Gea points, look at the last 2 goals. He gets beaten on his near post.
Yeah. I think people do say the near post, and there's people who know a lot more about goalkeeping than me in the comments, but the near post argument for me is nothing. I think those balls are hit at
no, but professional
big pace.
goalkeepers, elite Mark Bosnich will tell you don't concede at your near post.
Yeah, but how many goals? Every second goal's at the near post. Like I completely understand and agree, but look, they hit it really. They hit so hard. I just think I'm not going to blame you for that. I can understand the argument. There's people who know far more about goalkeeping than me, but I've got nothing.
I'm also a better left back than Diogo Dalot, by the way.
That was a sign of times when he came. But then I go back to the start of the season. I don't know if it's when you were trying to be positive, but in pre-season he put a performance in. We're saying, okay, yeah, let's keep Dalot as a fullback, and then he sort of kicks you in the teeth a couple of weeks later.
He's probably a backup, like 3rd choice right winger. Really, he can't defend.
But it was a sad sign when he came on, and now obviously he wasn't going to come on. Bless you, but he wasn't going to come on and change the game. That wasn't his job, and that was unfair to expect that of him. But when he did come on, it was a bit of a, what are we going to do with this type thing? And that's no fault of him. It was a situation we found ourselves in, but it was very disappointing. But look, I'm giving those points. Look, okay, I'll favour Sancho for 2 points, Donny van de Beek for 3, Sancho for 2, because Sancho was good over the 90 minutes. And De Gea 1 point for his saves. And look, De Gea's run away with his player of the season anyway, so it might not even be so it might not even count towards much. But as I said, I really appreciate everyone in the comments. The chat is flying in, so apologies for not getting to them all. But I do see some interesting conversations in there. And the main thing, which I do like from this chat, is that all does seem quite sensible. I think everyone does know that Solskjaer needs to go. Well, actually, it's gone by the news. Solskjaer has gone type thing.
Yeah, Steve Watson. Let's take positive. Anthony Martial played today. Didn't do anything, but he came on.
Well, he didn't do anything, but when he got on the ball, he think, oh yeah, no, he's a player. He's a very good player. But then you think, well, he touched the ball like twice in 45 minutes. So I actually forgot he was on the bench. When he came on, I was like, is Martial on the bench? It was that kind of thing. But yeah, it was interesting to see him. And look, another French player for the French manager comes in. It'll be interesting.
Can I make a stupid prediction? I'm just going to say it. Look, I'm just, it's 10 a.m.
You do it every other week.
Yeah, exactly. I could see a case where Zidane comes in. You see Martial from a few seasons ago. I'm going to stick by this. As good as Rashford is, I think if you can get, if you can get the most out of Martial's potential, he's a better player than Marcus Rashford. If you can. Now, whether you can or not is a debate for another day.
Well, no, yeah, it's definitely a debate, and we've had it plenty of times. Yes, Marcus Rashford is one match from Bruno Fernandes. So Marcus Rashford delivers a lot more than Anthony Martial, and that's why he's rightly in the team. But yeah, in regards to ability and football, yes, there's no comparison. Martial's a far better footballer, but he needs to get that out of him. And look, that'll happen with Zidane or any manager with a player you don't expect. might turn Wan-Bissaka into a great player, or Fred might find a new lease of life and find his Brazilian passport when he's in
That's what it
Manchester
is.
type thing.
Unlocking Fred. Let's go back to this debate, eh?
Yeah, probably missed Fred today. And look, I'm a big fan of McTominay, but I thought, maybe Fred might have offered something more than McTominay today. I thought McTominay was poor. Alongside Nemanja Matic, you said Nemanja Matic is okay. I thought Nemanja Matic that was his worst performance in regards to his strength. He's usually so good and careful with the ball, but I thought Nemanja Matic was woeful.
Look at Josh. Josh, look, I've upset people. It's true though. It's generally true. If you watch Martial, I'm not saying he's a better player than Marcus Rashford. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is on potential, if Martial can fulfill that potential, he would be a better player than Marcus Rashford. It's absolutely if Andreas Pereira fulfilled his potential, he'd be a better player than Bruno Fernandes. But here we are.
Yeah, no, look, it sounds stupid. I know it's a lot of comments that are tongue in cheek, but I completely agree. And look, it's a debate for another day. Look, who knows? The next manager might not be Zinedine Zidane, and who knows? All this news coming through on Twitter at the moment, it does look like it's on the verge of being confirmed. But who knows? Manchester United, we could have Solskjaer in charge against Villarreal. And who's the next case? Oh my God, is it Chelsea next? I think Chelsea next week. Which that's going to be a little bit rough. I think that's away Chelsea as well. So who knows? Might have a new manager bounce against Chelsea. But as we said, we did go live a little bit early today, morning Australian time, because we are expecting an announcement tonight. So we'll go live again tonight if the news does break, or when it does break. But Larry, it was good to get a little bit of frustration off our chest first thing. Now I can go and do my best attempt to join my Sunday.
Enjoy the UFC, mate.
Yeah, some big fights on.
I'll be banging my head on the wall.
Well, make sure it's you can cover sort of from your concussion test, and you're back. Join us about what do you reckon? 7:30. What time's 9 a.m. in the UK? That'll be 8 p.m. here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe stay tuned. Make sure you are subscribed. Probably 8 o'clock, 8:30 tonight. We'll very likely be going live if what happens. If all the reports are true. And Solskjaer does lose his job, we'll definitely be going live later tonight. So until then, truly appreciate everyone in the live chat and all your comments. And
Tom, before you go, can you answer Josh's question and say it's yes, he is?
Here we are. Is Andreas a better footballer than Scott?
Yes,
well,
he is.
Josh knows my thoughts on that one. But it is the case with Anthony Martial. But look, the French players, Paul Pogba and Anthony Martial, that is a debate for when Zinedine Zidane is the next Manchester United manager. Who, look, just finish on that, Larry. Make sure everyone has liked the video. Truly appreciate it. Next Manchester United manager, Brendan Rodgers or Zinedine Zidane? Who's your choice?
It will be Zidane. Rodgers won't happen. You look at
if your choice, they're both free. They both want the job. Who are you giving the contract to?
Zidane, 100%. I think you look at where United team is at the moment. I think the issue is it's about getting those big caliber players and their egos going in the same direction. And I think you look at what Zidane did with a superstar Real Madrid team. I think that's exactly what we need. If there's a manager out there, and not just that, I think the relationship he already has with some of the players is crucial. The fact he's managed Ronaldo and Varane before, I think, is an important factor. And then you put into that, Paul Pogba admires Zinedine Zidane. It's the player he idolized growing up. You look at Martial, Bruno Fernandes. I think these players would absolutely thrive under the Frenchman. So, I think Zidane's a no-brainer, and I think he'd do well. Really do.
Well, just his last comment from Seb. Yeah, Ollie's sacked. Well, it might be confirmed on Twitter. I haven't got the phone on me at the moment, but yeah, it does look like that. And we will go live tonight about 8 or 8:30 when that news is confirmed. But again, truly appreciate everyone for joining us. And Larry, I'll chat to you in probably less than 12 hours for a depressing news, a depressing video, but an enjoyable one. If everyone joins us, that'll be
maybe a tribute to Solskjaer. Get the beers ready.
Actually, yeah, no, I might go down the bottle shop, and get some of those Stone and Woods. So hopefully everyone enjoys their Sunday. Larry, chat to you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.